what was going wrong. Hello, hey, thank you, you guys for coming back in. We were having some technical difficulties. I couldn't figure out what was wrong, but I kind of just clicked and I figured out what was going on. Um, and here he is.
This call is now being recorded.
Este es Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
Joe Perez.
un preso recluido de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
Hello,
Hello?
Joe.
Yeah.
All right. This time
Yeah.
we're back on. We're back on. I definitely was I was having some technical difficulties earlier on, man, and you were definitely talking about some good stuff. Luckily, Manny C went ahead and dropped that comment in there, letting me know that there was no volume. El Iceman also put hello. So I want to go ahead and shout out to you guys, for tapping in. El Iceman, Manny C, and Biddy K. And for those of you that haven't showed up yet, I'm going to go ahead and give you a shout out. Lifestyle Chronicles, Fish Slayer SoCal, Mad Max 408, M-Star Media, what is Angel from the 805, Richard from Colorado, and all of you other guys that I didn't mention. And I want to go to thank you, Joe, for calling in and tapping in with us again on another day. We've been at it for the last few days, and man, at this rate, we'll probably be done with your interview by March. Man, you dropping so many gems on us. And,
yeah. Hopefully, yeah.
Providing us with some good visuals over here. So one day at a time, 1 or 2 hours at a time, and it will definitely be done in the near future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if anybody heard what I was saying, but when he's giving shout outs, there's one person from UK at least, right? So I've heard that UK on here, and I was like, a big shout out to the UK, because California never used to be how it is now. We were violent, we were lost in our ways, and the prison system was a mess, right? So the way we started thinking of stuff, at least people in Sacramento at least, they started thinking of stuff like this. Like, today's inmate is tomorrow's neighbor, right? The same guy that's in prison is going to be your neighbor tomorrow. So are we going to let him out like a monster? Are we going to let him out just like he is in prison? The stories I'm sharing with you, the environments I'm trying to let you see through my eyes, are we going to let them out from that to society, right? And in the UK, years back, they've been on this for they might have been on this from the beginning, They treat their inmates different. You can pretend you can have a life sentence, because I'm almost, this is pretended, right? In the UK, you can have a life sentence. And they let you come out of the prison, drive your car out, go to work. Now you have to come back at the end of your shift and go to prison, and you sleep in prison. And you do your 40 years or whatever they gave you like that. But the reason they're letting you do that is because, for one, you're helping the economy. You're contributing as a member of society. You probably got hit with a big restitution fine. In California, we do too. Some people owe like $40,000, $30,000, $20,000, but you don't have no means to pay it. So over there, they do this as a way to cover all that stuff. The guy has to file taxes. The guy has to contribute, right? And they treat you more humane, is what I'm saying. Now, in a California setting, you're probably like, why would we let an inmate out? Why would we do that? Why would we do this? Apparently, California did learn something, or the United States did learn something from Norwegian or Ireland or Iceland or wherever they're like that, over there in the European side of the world. The prisons have the same structure. Like, nothing's changed, guys, since I came in. But what did change is the way they started bringing in self-help groups. They started teaching us, like, This is why you were like that. This is why you made that choice. Like, you need to understand this, because if you don't understand it now, we're never going to let you out in the future because you just don't get it. What if you make the same mistake twice? Like, we're not willing to take that chance. So with that said, other things started coming into the prison system too, like colleges, like more colleges. Where I'm at, it looks like a college in prison now. That did not look like that when I'm telling you in Tehachapi stories or Salinas. Like, that's prison. Now it looks like a college place. We got the same buildings, but no longer are the inmates talking about, man, did you see the knife that fool made? That was sick. They're not talking like that no more. Now it's like, man, I just got an AA degree. I'm trying to get my bachelor's. I scored this on this. So the cops are hearing this tripping out because even they know it's changed so much, right? They're giving us microwaves in here now, something we never had. They're trying to do away with the benches that were like the same benches when I'm in reception when I tried to take the watch. Those benches, they're trying to take them away. They're trying to take the prison tables away and give us like sofas, but they're not sofas like with cushion. It's like a all plastic structure, but you can make the sofa you want. You can make a long way this way. You can make an L. They got a middle part for your feet to go on or your drinks to go on, and that's what prison's turning into now. That's inside the buildings. Outside the buildings, they're letting us draw on the walls now. Not graffiti, not like that.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
Think of like Chicano Park in San Diego. Think of murals and drawings. Instead of having a gray wall that has bullet holes in it or chips off it where the rounds hit it or blood stains, they're like livening this place up because we're not trying to have you in a cage like that no more. You still have to do time, but we're trying to line it up in here because we know you have to go back out to society. And guess what? We learned something off of the UK, apparently. So big shout out to the UK listeners that tune in because they know what they have out there, and they're probably tuning in over here just to hear how out of control it was,
And you know what? I want to go ahead and throw my 2 cents on that. And it's actually Norway. I believe it's called the Norway Project. What the CDCR is trying to institute in their facilities. I think the UK is more modeled toward, I think prisons in the UK are going to be more like the US. I think, when it comes to violence and whatnot. Norway it's different, because I think in Norway, I think why it works is because these communities are smaller communities and they don't have the same problems that we have here in the U.S. or in L.A. When it comes to like prison gangs or street gangs and things of that nature. I think they're more they're a smaller community and everybody knows each other. Like the prison guard next lives next to somebody that's in prison or things of that nature. So I think my untrained opinion would be I think it works there because they're smaller communities and they're different. I think if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But I mean,
absolutely. I understand.
If something like that would work in California.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. We're a different kind of a different kind of setting. I get that. But I also think it's cool that somehow, some way, we picked up and we started trying to do all this self-help, and because my mind would have never been where it's at without none of the self-help, without none of.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
And without fellow peers of mine swimming in this way, because I always talk about the current. When I'm talking about Tehachapi, I'm talking about the current and how it just takes you. And that current was just digging you deeper, right? This current is like, no, we're going to get out one day. And even if we don't, who cares? Let's just help the world get better, So now there's two streams in California prison system.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? And ICEMAN, he just dropped he dropped some knowledge here, and he says that in Norway is so small and majority white. It's a socialist program. But yeah, you know what? Definitely, my hats off to the CDCR for actually attempting and trying something different. For those for that small majority that is participating in these programs, it's gonna be life changing for them. The people that are gonna take advantage of these programs. So my hats off to them. That are willing to try this out. And hopefully, the CDCR is headed in the right direction.
Yeah, and more so, like, just so you guys know, this year, I think they finalized that 4 prisons in California would be transforming the cells to, like, model after them. That way the cells don't look like you're in a cell no more. They're trying to make it more like a bedroom. It's only with 4 prisons. And I know San Quentin was mad because they pushed the line for a lot of things, and I don't think they got it, But Salinas did. Salinas, I do believe they were one of the prisons that got it, and 3 other institutions.
I'll tell you this: if I were to do time somewhere, it would probably be in Norway. Just because I'll have a key to my room. I'll be able to cook my own food. I have a real utensils. And then have a job and come back to prison. I mean that doesn't sound too bad if I was gonna do time. Not that I want to do time, but if I did, then those would be the perfect setting for somebody to do time in.
Yeah, and in California there's a prison called CMC. It's in St. Louis Obispo or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong.
No, that's it.
But they have a key. Yeah, they have a key to each cell, and it's only one person per cell. So that place has been like that for a while, but I could never believe that when I heard that. And I was like, what? And they were like, yeah, you got your own cell, so if you get in trouble, that's you that got in trouble. A lot of times in the California prison system, they blame both of the cellmates. They don't let one say like, oh that's yours, And sometimes it works like that, but the overall view they can always say is like it's in a general area, because you live with another person,
Yeah, and I think that sucks, because you don't have it. It's not like you could choose, whether you're gonna be single celled or have a celly. So I mean it sucks, like you don't, like at least like if you could at least have some type of input, on who you're gonna have celled up with you, like somebody that's not gonna put you at risk or gonna put your freedom at jeopardy, would be nice. But unfortunately, you get to these places that you don't get to dictate and decide, who you're gonna be celled in or celled up with, for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, and in my personal experience, like when I'm trying to do good and like in my later years, right, when I make the commitment to like change, and I'm like, I'm still rough around the edges in some spots, but I'm on the path to rehabilitation, right? I don't want nothing going wrong. Sometimes you try to pick your cellmates that are saying like, I won't get you in trouble, I won't jeopardize you, like, trust me, fool, trust and believe, I want you home, right? And then next thing you know, they're getting you in trouble, and it's like, man, like, my situation, bro, like, we talked about this a million times. And it's like, I'm sorry, dog. Like, I didn't mean to. Like, I didn't mean to. And I'm like, well, none of that matters now, right? Because now I'm in trouble. And now, like, so it's an extremely frustrating and stressful situation for a incarcerated individual that is on the path of recovery, on the path of never breaking the law again, trying his hardest, and then you have to live with somebody or you get in trouble. Like, the cops will give you a 115. And that might not be nothing when I'm in Tehachapi, but that is everything when I'm trying to go home, and you get put in that situation time and time again. So as long as you're living with another person, the reality is, as much as you love yourself, they won't love you like that. As much as they think they will protect you, they slip. And there you are. And even if you don't get caught, right, it doesn't change the stress levels within you. Like, oh my God, what are you doing? It's just a ugly position to be in as an incarcerated individual.
You know what, and thank you, for for shedding light on that and informing us about that. I wanted to ask
Le
you.
queda un restante de 60 segundos.
I wanted to ask you about something that you mentioned yesterday, and I was thinking about it, while I was at work, and you mentioned that you were incarcerated, or you were the cell next to you had a dude that was from out of state. I believe you said he was from GD, from Chicago.
Oh yeah.
And he
Yeah, absolutely.
For somebody that gets incarcerated and that's not of part of California, did he share like some like how it was for him, or have you ever come across people that were incarcerated and that were not originally from California, and what was their their outlook or their opinion on the California system?
And I'm gonna give you that answer right now when I call back.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Call back right now. Call back right now. Try to keep him on the hook, bro. Try to keep him on the hook. All right.
Yeah. So yesterday, I'm not sure if you guys caught that interview or the journey he was sharing with us yesterday, but he had mentioned that he was the gentleman that he was speaking to was surprised that he wasn't or it wasn't part of their code of conduct was he had mentioned proper preparation prevents poor performance. And if you think about it, man, like, yeah, I mean, if you're in these type of situations, you want your people to be ready and whatnot. So you would think that would be like rule number one, when you get into prison. So there we go. Oops.
This call recording ended.
Usted tiene una llamada prepagada.
This call is now being recorded.
Un preso recluido de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Tel Link.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to answer this in two parts. Now, the guy from Chicago, he's a black guy. He was a black gentleman. And so he don't fall in line with the Crips or the Bloods in California, right? Because he's a gangster disciple. Now, black politics are different. I was not with him on the main line. We were together in the hole, right? But he never mentioned that he had any problems with the Bloods or Crips out here. He didn't. So I don't think they play like that, right? Now, moving along to the question where it's like, well, what does Joe mean then? This is what Joe means. If you're from Chicago and you're a Latin king, now you're of Latino descent, right? You're of Hispanic. I don't know if there's Mexicans out there. I don't know what's going on, but you're of the skin color that we will define as brown, right? So with that, homies are vicious, man. And homies are like, well, if we get busted out there, and to be honest, I don't even know, guys. I don't even know the truth. I've been busted out this time. I don't know what happens to us if we get busted out there. But I could see it. It makes sense to me. It makes logic to me that if we're busted out there, then fools get their money on us, right? So, through the knowledge that we do share with each other, whether we know if it's true or false, when a Latin king gets busted over here, there's no easy way to say this, because I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Latin kings or anything like that. It's just like sharing it for knowledge purposes. We will victimize him, and he will not be allowed to stay on the yard with us. So, what we already know, victimize means a lot of blood, no matter how you cut it. It's going to be a lot of blood right there. And so then if you're busted from Latin Kings when I'm in Tehachapi, you would have to go PC, or you would die on that line, If you're, we even have a problem with Arizona, If you're from Texas, there's an issue because we will be like, oh, they got Texas, I won't say the name, but they got Texas this, and if we were over...
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
it turns into that conversation very quickly, like first day quickly. And nobody is going to dispute whoever's mouth this information is coming out of. Everyone's going to look and they're going to do like a head nod, and then it's time to get in the business, you know? So in my experience, I haven't seen too much of that because those kind of guys, you know, thankfully, they don't, either the cops or their crimes don't take them to what a 180 facility is, you know? I've never seen them get attacked on a 180 facility. Now, I have went to a 270, which is still level 4, but like I explained to you guys, like it's a far second from a 180. There was a Latin King right there. And the cool thing about it, guys, was this guy had been doing time in California for like 8 years, 7 years at the time. And he's coming, his points raised, so he's coming from a level 3 to a level 4. And when he comes up, we all end up going there together. And he's in my batch that all of us are new at the prison. And then it came out that he's a Latin King, and he wasn't hiding it. You know, he didn't think nothing was wrong with it. But right there, yeah, he was removed from the yard with weapons, and it got bloody, you know? And it was because of that, because maybe the level 3s were okay with it. Maybe the homies were like not tripping because people go home on those yards, and it's a lot softer than what a 180 will be. But when you're coming to a 270, now you got 180s going lower level too, and in their minds they're like, this is not gonna fly nowhere. So yeah, that happened to that individual, and he's the only one that I was on the main line with that got victimized from that was a Latin King. Now here's the flip side of that coin. When I leave and cut ties with the gang culture and all that, right? I see like 3 of these guys over here, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, huh? So then in my mind, my mind just grabs it, and it's like, oh, this is, when you're from out of the state of California, this is where you have to go. They end up here, you know, so it makes sense that you will see them more now, you know?
So that's interesting. That somebody would be fine on a level 3, and then once they get up to level 4, it's like it's a no go. You know, if it so it, let me ask you. So I'm assuming they're functioning with the homies then, right? They weren't running other.
Yeah, he was functioning with the homies.
Okay.
No,
okay.
He was functioning on level 3 with the homies.
Yeah.
But even in today's age, right, James, this is I'm gonna say how today is right now, right?
Yeah.
Lifestyle Chronicles called in, and he mentioned like active, or I've been hearing some active, can actives participate, and it kind of, the question threw me off because I felt like I was stuck, like, oh, what? I didn't even know we're discriminating. I didn't even, because in my mind we shouldn't be, right? So, and I'm not saying we are, but the question hit me like that, so I kind of like was frozen. Now, there is many level 3s in California today, right now, and what I'm hearing is active, non-active. In a large portion of these level 3s, you have people that consider themselves active and people that don't, and there is no fighting. Everybody's just doing their time, and you have some people on these same yards that say like, oh, well, we were given the goal to turn the blind eye, and you know, like, to me, when I hear things like that on a 180, that will never be acceptable, you know. So what I'm trying to say is different levels operate differently, right? Because you could never put that situation on a 180. It just will not work, bro. But the lower levels, like level 1s, level 2s, some level 3s, when it's like that, it's just the politics are just different. The violence is different on a 180. So everything's going to be like, oh, that's prison on a 180. But when you go to elsewhere, it's always, every level you drop, it gets easier. Less violence. Let's push this line. Let's push that line, you know? No matter where you fall.
Yeah. Hey, and then thank you. I really appreciate, you shedding some light on that. I'm always curious about, people, coming in from out of state, and I've seen like other people like make comments or speak about, like if they came in from like Virginia and they entered the California system that they were gonna do whatever they were gonna do. They were gonna talk to whoever they were gonna want to, and I think that if they came into that mindset, in the California system, as far as in the main line, I don't think they're gonna, they're gonna go too far, in that situation.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. One thing I know, and I will say this with confidence, right? Homies are homies, Bloods and Crips are Bloods and Crips, right? No matter who you are, if you're from California, there's a certain pride that you're gonna have, just like if you're from Texas or if you're from New York, right? So picture one of us saying, we're going to go to New York and we're going to lay the law and we're going to do this and do this. As prideful as we are, New York's going to be like, what? This fool's in the NYC, homeboy. Let's show him where he's at. So any place, going to another place, thinking that they are just that guy, it's going to be a big reality check, no matter where we are in the world. We could go to Brazil and be like, oh, we're from California. I think we're going to run. Man, they're gonna do that jiu-jitsu on us, bro. We're gonna get our butts kicked, Hello.
Sorry, I had you on mute.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm
okay.
Right here.
Okay.
Don't worry, I wasn't running right now.
Okay.
Now I'm wired in right now.
All right.
All right.
And for those tuning in, it's about 1:30. This is the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network. This is Easy Blue live from Arlington, Texas. I got you muffos, like all three of you listening. They're like, what?
Hey, so and my apologies because ICEMAN, he dropped a comment here a little while ago, right when we started, and he said
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
He wrote in the comments, Joe, or ICEMAN, Joe, your favorite 49er fan is here.
I know, man. I know. I thought he was going to take shots at me. I thought we might be losing the game already, Yeah. Yeah, man.
Oh, it's going on right now, the game?
Yeah, I think so, but the game's secondary to this. We're trying to change a life or two.
That's right.
So my boys, I'll see them at the Super Bowl, Yeah.
Hey, yeah. So I mean, whenever you want, you could go ahead and continue down your journey. That's yesterday while I was at work, I was listening. I'll listen back. I'll play back the live streams, and then if I hear something that I didn't touch on, the previous day, then I'll go ahead and ask you about it. Just because and I was definitely curious about running into that guy from Chicago.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, I'll continue along, and we're in Salinas, right? But before I wanna get into that, I wanna say in the Tehachapi days, there's a movie out there, guys, and to me, it's the best prison movie that they ever made, and it's called Felon. It stars Val Kilmer, and it's telling the story about Corcoran Shoe, right? Remember, I'm waiting to go to Corcoran, and we opened up Tehachapi Shoe. Well, it's telling that town. And when I was on the streets, I used to have like a number 4 on top with like a fade on the side of my head. So I was like clean cut, pretty boy look, And when I'm gonna get sentenced, my hair goes. I'm like, the hell with this. Like this somehow, some way, I started playing the victim role, and I shaved my head right there. And then James talked about all these little vivid pictures of when I'm telling a story. So in all Tehachapi, like I never stopped that. I just kept shaving the head, and everybody else was shaving head, and you have like 1 or 2 homies with long hair, and that's it. And when I meet this, when I go to Salinas Valley, I meet this girl, and it could have been anybody from the streets, right? I'm not saying it could have been any girl. I'm saying it could have been anybody. We had CGA yesterday, and I told this story to the guys because they were like, "What's the first time you had any hope? Like, not when you hit your rock bottom, but when's the first time you had any hope?" And I'm telling them, hey, it's when I got a visit from this girl, and it might not have been the first visit, but it was through them. And I told them it didn't have to be a girl, it didn't have to be a woman, but at that point in time in my life, all I had was you guys around me, and we're all thinking criminal, and we're all thinking the same way. So when she started coming to visit me, I will hear stories about her saying, I love you, and I asked you, do your whole family say I love you to each other? And she's like, yeah, stupid, like, where you at? And I didn't, my family wasn't like that, so I had to start bringing that into my family in the upcoming years, right? But when she said that, I wanted that. I wanted that feeling. And I didn't have it, and that's me reconnecting with humanity, right? This is why I say it could have been anybody, because anybody from the streets would have been a normal civilian, and we're operating under the guidelines of a criminal, like fully wake up, go to sleep, think about it. All your thoughts are criminal, pretty much. So here I am meeting this innocent person, and hearing how every birthday party they grab a piece of cake and throw it in someone's face, and I was like,
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
how cool, I never done that. And I wanted that. I wanted some normalcy. Now, this was like a fantasy at the time, because I knew I would never get it, and it quickly disappeared, and I quickly forgot about it. But I remember that's the first time I wanted anything other than what it was, and that didn't even have to do with freedom. It didn't even have nothing to do with changing myself, because right there I think I'm normal. It just wanted a piece of normalcy, and that's the first time I had hope. And again, like I say, it disappeared real quick. Now I'm gonna call back, and we're gonna stay on this topic because there's so much to say. There's so much to say about this stuff. So I'll call right back.
Hey, Joe. Oh, I was about to give him the score for the game right now. Not that I'm into sports, but I just looked it up. Since he's here, sacrificing his yard time and watching the game, I figured that I'll at least keep him updated with the score and whatnot. Gyro Land put at that bunk room look annoying AF to live in. Yeah, no, it. I think my restroom is bigger than that cell right there. So, if you're just tuning in right now, you haven't missed anything out. You haven't missed out yet. He's just about to get into his back into his journey. For the first 30 minutes, we were just conversating about Norway prisons. Not that I know much about Norway, but from what I've seen, clips and videos and whatnot that I've seen on Netflix or YouTube, or just on the web in general. And then I had asked him about how would somebody from out of state fit into the California system. So, and there we go.
This call is now being recorded.
Esta es Global Telling.
It looks like we might be having some technical
Usted tiene una llamada
difficulties.
prepagada de
Joe Perez.
un preso recluido de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
Hello, Joe.
Sorry about that.
Hey.
Yeah, hello. Yeah.
Hello. So I want to go ahead and give you an update on the game right now. So it's 0-0.
Okay.
And
okay, that's cool.
All right, and it's the first quarter right now. And then I want to go ahead and read off one of the messages that I just read from Amy. She said, I just forgot I was listening to Joe and started laughing out loud because I thought I was on the phone with my loved one. I went to bed last night with my cheeks hurting because he was cracking me up.
Okay, well, Amy, if you got to kick out of there, stay tuned because I'm gonna talk about the women now and how they're the backbone. I'm not gonna go into details about all crazy stuff, but they're the backbone in that too, and they don't even know it, right? So so here's what I want to say. When I meet this girl, I start falling for her, and we all know that, right? And she's starting to show me unconditional love, and I start trying to show that to my family members in years to come, right? And we get all that, but we didn't know how hard it was gonna be, right? Like here I am in prison. I got 2 life sentences. I'm never going home. I don't lie to her about none of this. I tell her I am never going home, you know? So have your little fun with me and then be gone because I know we're not gonna stand no test of time, right? I'm not fooling myself about nothing right here, right? And in 4 months too, I remember being with her for 4 months after we're like make it official, and I'm like, you know what? I just go crazy, and I'm like, you know what? Just get out of here. Like in 4 months, I know you cheated on me, girl. Like there's no way you couldn't have cheated on me in 4 months. So like I'm trying to break up. She's like, boy, you better calm down, you stupid butt. But her parents, when her parents find out, like somehow, some way, one of the tias, one of the aunts, they ratted her out to mom and dad. You know, like, hey, check this out. This girl's been talking to this fool in prison. And when that happens, the parents are like, heck no. They probably think I come home in a year, like I'm on a level one. I stole a car. I'm in prison. I come home in a year and this and that, right? That wasn't good enough for them. They're like, we didn't raise our daughter to go be with this scumbag little bastard prick trying to use her or whatever they're thinking, right?
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
And they just weren't having it because they couldn't deal with it. They couldn't deal with her being with anybody in prison, even if the dude's going home in 3 months. Now, let alone I have life and I'm never going home. So I tell her, like, hey, do they even know how much time I got? Like, those are genuine concerns they have, you know? And she's like, you know, whatever she tells me, she's like, forget that, forget them, forget what you're telling me right now. Like, this is happening. And they kick her out. They kick her out, bro. And at the time, like, keep in mind, she's teaching me all these feelings. She's teaching me all my emotions because prior to this, I don't cry for nothing. Like, I'm not saying prior to this day. I'm saying prior to me meeting her and the journey, just in Salinas. We'll just stick to Salinas, right? So, in those years of Salinas, with all this chaoticness going on behind me, I got her in front of me and she's teaching me emotion. She tells me, when's the last time you cried? And I'm like, in my head, all these letters are writing. One of them says, when's the last time you cried? And I'm like, what's wrong with this stupid girl? Like, don't she know I'm a G? Like, don't she know men don't cry? Don't she know? And in my mind, that's the reality at the time. I never shed a tear back then. When my aunt dies, my whole family's crying. And I'm like, oh, it's tough guy until it happens to a family member. And now all you guys are weak? Nah, I'm past that. Like, so that was genuinely me at the time. Now, when she tells me she gets kicked out, that affects me a certain way. I don't cry, but it's chipping at my soul. It's chipping at my emotions, right? And so many things like that happened to us. She was driving up one time. She used to live at that visiting room. She's driving up 6 hours away and has to drive 6 hours back. A flat tire. It's a Saturday, bro, and I am so pissed off. I am like, man, she lied to me. She played me. Like, this is never going to happen again. And then the homies come back from visit, and they're like, hey, fool, by the way, your girl's coming tomorrow. She got a flat tire. So her and the other girl, this is after the love bus. After the love bus days are over, they get their own cars. They start coming in their own cars. So they tell me she'll be there Sunday. And I felt so bad, bro. Because here I am thinking, like, she stood me up. Whatever came up, and she's not coming. And the reality was she had a flat tire, and they're fixing, and it's all girls, bro. So imagine how low I feel about myself, even thinking the thought, thinking bad about her, when she's on the freeway fixing her tire to come see me, right? And they're girls. They got weak arms. Like they're young girls at this. She's like 21 years old. I'm like 23. She's like 21. This is how young we are. And so that happens. And then I remember when she got kicked out, I was like, what are you going to do? Like, where are you going to go? And she went to with a tia, an aunt took her in. So her aunt takes her in and she's like, well, you know, your mom and dad are mad at you, but you're my niece, so you're going to come live with me. Forget them, you know? And that aunt was so supportive, you know? Shout out to the aunt, man. I won't say her name, but shout out to her, man. She's been so supportive, you know? And there's other things that happen with my wife that really messed me up. And this is already in the time where I know my emotions now. Like, I'm already like, see Titanic and I get sad now when Jack's over there in the water and I'm like, oh, you know? And before I seen that movie, I didn't think nothing. I'm like, stupid Jack, I would have had me my raft, you know? You're thinking selfish and stupid and not realistic. And she finally tells me a story. And this is 8 months after it happened, right? This is the story. She used to work at the Disneyland, and then she got a real good job. Like, think of like lawyer firm. Think of like that, right? All good job like that, right? She has to wear a business suit, and everyone's making money right there. She'll be telling me, oh, this guy, he got a Mercedes, and the main boss, he got this, and everyone's trying to catch the real boss because it's like I don't know if the word's right, but like commission. The more you do, the more you make, right? And you can make as much as the boss. So this job, people are shining and outshining each other, trying to get more loot at the end of the month. And my wife used to brag about me so much back then, bro. She used to be like, my man's this and my man's that, and all the girls will be bashing their men. Like, man, I should leave that fool. That fool don't appreciate me. I know that fool was talking to this girl. I think he's cheating on me. Everyone is bashing their man. And my girl's over here glamorizing me. Like, I got the best dude ever. He treats me nice, da-da-da. We don't have problems. Now, they have big old parties. This place has big old parties where you can invite one person. And, like, the big old parties, I'm talking about, picture this. A mini yacht off the coast of Newport Beach, right? $27,000 to rent this mini yacht. The boss did that like a bonus. Like, hey guys, we're gonna go over here. Thank you for doing good in the company. You guys are doing great. So he would always do stuff like that. So at this time, when my girls are over there boasting about me, they had already had a couple of these things. Well, I'm never there. And one of the girls, she didn't know. But one of the girls goes like, oh my God, like, where's she at? Don't tell me you got one of those guys in prison. And all the girls start laughing because they don't know, bro. They just don't know. And my wife was like, my look gave it away, you know? So she was sad as hell. And then they stopped laughing because they know girl hit the spot. She hit the nail on the nose, you know? So my girl was so upset and so devastated by that comment, and she felt so embarrassed and so humiliated, right? She ends up quitting. And I didn't know that whole time. And 8 months later, we're having a dispute, or we're having a debate. Like, I really don't fight with her. I really don't fight like that. I'm not that kind of guy where I argue. I'll be like, you want to argue, go find someone else. You know, like we ain't doing that. We're going to talk civil. And, you know, but we're having one of these days. And she's like, you think this shit's easy? And then she throws that shit in my face. And I felt so bad, bro. I'm like, why didn't you tell me? And she's like, what good's it going to do? You know? What fucking good is it going to do if I tell you? Like, they already hurt me, you know? They don't got to hurt you too. And we had so many moments like that where they were eye-opening moments where it's like, damn, this is This is hard, you know. So because of this, I only know that she's helping me with my emotions. And I don't even want this at this time, guys. Like I'm like this girl's making me crazy. You know, you need to get out of my life because whatever you're doing, I don't like feeling like this. I don't like feeling emotions. I'm not used to it. I've never had them before, you know. But when I look back now, those were my first moments of developing empathy, of putting myself in her shoes and experiencing her pain, you know. And nobody ever talks about prison like that, you know. Usually, even in movies, prison's glamorized. Like, no matter what movie you're watching, the CO's getting beat up, Fast and the Furious, this one, that one, whatever movie you could think of. There's only one movie that shows a correctional officer in a very decent light, and it's probably The Green Mile, with the ones that are helping him, you know. But yeah, nobody talks about the bad things in prison and the hardships. And shout out to the women that come visit us, you know, because this is only one story. This is only one woman's story with one man. Now they all have hard spots in their relationship. Cause think about it. Even when you're on the streets, bro, like what are the girls? The girls are always complaining about the man. They're always it's a hard thing out there, you know. It's a hard thing out there, and if you're talking about kids, then it gets even harder if there's separation, because the dude will be like, forget her, and she's on the same trip, forget him, and you have this kid together, and you're like, well, apparently they did love each other. Apparently, maybe not love, but maybe everything was working at one point for you guys to even get there, you know. And as men, I learned to appreciate women and all women in general, because I know it's more difficult for them, bro. And there's no other easy way to say it. Like, even if you have a kid, and even if you know, my wife, she just told me a story about a child support story where the guy's complaining, and he manipulated the system. He manipulated his way so he don't have to pay it, and now he's paying a lot. And she was like, fool, you don't even take days off when the kids are sick. The mom does that, you know? And she was nailing him on this and that, and she's like, you know, you should be thankful. That's all you pay, because you're not really, like, it still falls on the woman of things, you know? And now I'm going to get off this topic, because ICEMAN and Life Chronicles, and it's like, bro, we don't tune in this thing to hear about women, you know? So if James, if you're there, you want to chime in, you want to say anything?
Yeah, I'm here. I got
Yeah.
I'm being held hostage right now. I have to color. I'm coloring. I'm doing a little bit of coloring now. So
Okay.
frozen,
Esta
frozen.
llamada y su
But I'm
número
listening
de
to you. I'm right
teléfono
here.
será
I'm definitely,
controlada y
listening to
grabada.
you,
Okay.
and you know, shout out, like you said, shout out to these women, you know, that you know, go, you know,
Le
religiously,
queda un restante de 60 segundos.
you know, week after week, you know, they religiously, you know, visit these gentlemen here in prison, and it adds a glimmer of hope, you know, when you're in these
Okay.
situations and in these places. So shout out to them.
Absolutely. I'm gonna call back right now, and I'll take over the mic. That way you can fulfill those duties and spend some beautiful time right there. You know, call right back right now.
All right, cool. Hey, perfect. I really appreciate it. All right, let me see. And Amy, I see that message on there. You put it's important. It's so important, though. Support and love and understanding is vital. Yeah, it is, especially, you know, when you're in situations like that. You know, unfortunately for me, you know, when I've been in those type of situations, you know, I didn't have that type of support. But luckily for me, you know, I wasn't gone for decades or years upon years of you know, incarceration. So, you know, I did a week over here, a week over there, 90 days here, 6 months there. So I didn't have to, you know, deal with those type of situations for too long. And just to give you guys a heads up, so today, well, I'm probably gonna be cutting it at about 2:30. So that's in about another 40 minutes or so. I have to work today. I'll be working that swing shift again. I'm gonna be off for the next few days, so I'll definitely be bringing in some. I'll be bringing some more gentlemen on. I believe right now I was reaching out to Silas, and we're trying to set something up for Monday.
This call is now being
Global
recorded.
Talent. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
Joe Perez.
un preso recluido de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Tel-Link.
Hello, Joe.
Hello.
All right. So
Yeah.
somebody did drop a comment on here right now, and I want to go ahead and read it. Our question, I think it is, and it's Gyro Lamb, and they put in those open prisons, do the guys basically have no choice but to get along, because if not, it'll just be chaos, right?
Wait, I don't understand the question. In Salinas and Tehachapi, is he asking like that kind of question?
Like, I guess it's just in general, that you have to get along, because if not, then it'll just be like the Wild Wild West, I guess. I'm guessing like on the main line, they're asking.
Okay. Here's the thing. I forgot the gentleman's the handle of the name. Gyroland. Okay. Remember, I tell you that. I don't know if you previously heard anything, but when I come to prison, all I want to do is I want to play on the field, man. I want to be a running back. I want to be a wide receiver. I want to be a quarterback. Like, put me in the field, coach. And they put me on the sidelines. They're like, no, you got to coach the team. You got to make sure we win, right? So I thought that positions were different, right? I thought, like, I'm here to lead. I'm here to take us to war. I thought I'm doing this and that, right? I had an older gentleman one time question me because I was so young, and I was extremely young to be right there, right? He said, what's your job? And I gave him some BS answer like that. Like, oh, I'm here to do this, and then I'm Conan, I'm Troy, like row the boats faster, right? Mm-hmm. And he said, you know what your job is right there? He said, you're responsible for every soul that's under you. It's your job to make sure that they get back in the cell at night and they don't get hurt. Uh-huh. And when he told me that, I was so it opened my eyes a lot. So you're talking about a place that is chaotic all the time. So what we do is we make up rules. Now think how crazy this sounds. We go to jail, we commit crimes, we're breaking the rules. Society made rules. We already failed, we already broke them. Now we're in prison for the rest of our lives, and we are making new rules to prevent future violence. So basically, we're making a new society right here. Now, these rules are set because of the riots. There's no other way to say that. If I say no Mexicans can do this, that's not being like a dictatorship. That's not being like I'm gonna say it, so you guys have to do it. Huh? That's because in the past, that situation brought a riot. So we're trying to eliminate all the riots and bloodshed, because these kind of riots, when they happen, not everybody lives to go back to the cell. So I don't know if that makes sense to you, but that's what we try to achieve. We're living in a violent world and mind frame, and we are trying to keep the peace at the same time. And through trying to keep the peace, other violence is being inflicted because they broke a rule, and we deem that rule like, oh, we made it. So not only are we the makers of the rule, but we are the policemen. Except there's no jail to put you in. So for your punishment, you will have to be punished physically. Yeah, physically, no matter what degree it is. Or exercise. You'll have to, if it's a small rule you broke, you will have to do exercise. But those things are put in place to prevent a full-scale riot on the yard.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate
I
you.
hope I answered that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You definitely did for me. I really appreciate that. And with that, I'll go ahead and let you, do your thing. And just to give you a heads up, we got about, we could probably do about another, I think, two more phone calls. I could be on until
Okay.
about 2:30.
Okay.
So have at
Okay,
it.
that sounds good. Okay. And okay, so when I go to Salinas Valley, not only do I meet my wife and all that right there, right? Like I start getting visits and all that. So that starts bringing me to the human side of things, right? Very premature, but it does. And I already explained how when I left as a criminal, I told myself, you got extremely lucky to even go to your second prison. Now you need to get smarter. I already shared that aspect of it. But other things that were happening to me right here was I'm like 23, 24, 25, 26 in this time right here at Salinas. Well, I'm getting smarter not only as a criminal, but I'm getting smarter as a human in general. My emotional intelligence is getting stronger. I used to drink a lot in Tehachapi. Like every 2 weeks we were drinking because that's as fast as you could make the wine, right? So we would drink in a big old group and sing songs on the tier. And sometimes in my experience at multiple prisons, the cops can be doing a big old search, like searching for weapons, drugs, right? And multiple times have I been drunk with my little tier and the cops go to search and they don't even pull us out. They look at us and we're like, we're ready. And they're like, no, we're not important because they don't even want to risk the dangers of violence escalating because we're drunk. So in time, I learned that was a strategy too. Like when you're really trying to hide something, if we could pop a batch open and we could be all faded by the time they come, it's worked in the past and it will work in the future. But that's not what I'm trying to get at. I'm trying to get at this. Because of my drinking and all that, I had a cellmate shed some light on how dirty. I won't get into specifics, but just like how dirty the process is when we make liquor. And when we do that, it's they got these big old factories with millions of tubes that filter.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
The Budweiser, the Million Genuine Draft, the Coors, like all this stuff, right? And here we are having rotten fruit, sugar, water, and give it a week to turn over, So I stopped drinking. I was never a drunk like that. Marijuana was my choice of doing everything, and liquor came secondary, right? But when I come to prison, I start drinking because mostly in the shoe in the hole, that's all we had. So when I'm about 24, 25, I stopped drinking. And it wasn't something that everybody did. Nobody was stopping around me, because everybody's still in this world of hurt and they need that, Well, I stopped drinking on my own just because I felt like, for one, it's dirty, and for two, you're becoming a man now, fool. You're not a little kid no more. You're 24, 25, like this is, you were drinking when you were supposed to drink, in my mind. And in my mind it's telling me now, like, you're going to stop drinking. And I stopped. Now, that wasn't my last drink. I went on to thinking that White Lightning, which is like moonshine, is better because you could see through it. You could light it on fire. I'm thinking this is as pure as it gets. This is like 100% alcohol, but it's probably not. But I'm thinking that. So I did go on and continue drinking like that, but it was limited. Like on Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, 4th of July, Cinco de Mayo. So it cut down gradually for me. But that's where I made the choice to stop drinking. First of all, because it was dirty, and second of all, because I felt like, that's it, fool. Like, you're a man already. So when I look back, I could tell I was getting smarter right there in all kinds of aspects, not just the criminal like I thought, right? And at this time, from '03 to '06, I go to Salinas. And in Tehachapi, not everybody did drugs like that. Not everybody was slamming heroin or methamphetamine, right? There was a lot of weed smokers that didn't do none of that. So when I get to Salinas, the dynamics change. These guys are using heavy right here, and it's not even like a little bit of the population. It's like the majority of homies are getting a disease called hepatitis C. And you know it because the medical lady, she does her rounds and she'll give a little vitamin drink to you. And everybody that was getting that vitamin drink when she would pass, you knew they had hepatitis C. And she would stop at almost every door. Now, I say this to say this. In 2003 to 2006, that's leading up to 2010. And in 2010, I could remember looking at the news, and the news saying that the nation's heroin addiction has went up 50%. And I thought that was a staggering number. And it wasn't only happening out there, but it was happening in here too. And out there, I would hear that when I went to high school, guys, this stuff was never around. Marijuana, yes. That black stuff, no. So then, in 2010, like I said, that they had a ugly spike in the United States of America with that stuff, and it went all the way down to high school kids. And it's I know it's a different world out there now, but that's what was happening in prison. Other things that happened in Salinas, it just took the crown in so many things. It was the best visiting room for a criminal at the time. Oh, they used to bring us pizza in that visiting room. Oh, okay, here's one for you guys. When you're in prison, you don't eat food. Like, you guys go to Jack in the Box, and you guys go to KFC whenever you want, and you could go anywhere, You could go to Panda Express. Like, when you're an inmate, these are the little details that I forgot about. So when you're an inmate, you get the tray in the morning and the night. And if you're at a violent prison, you have 0 food stalls. They're just not there. And I'll explain what a food stall is shortly. But in Salinas Valley visiting, they used to have a vendor that would come in, and he'll go buy 15 boxes of Little Caesars pizza. So in 2004, that's the first time I ate Little Caesars pizza since 1997. Or maybe 1996, It's been that long. And I say this because I'm in visiting. Think about the guys that don't get visits. Remember, the visitors are a little population. The other guys are deep. It's like 950 other guys that don't get visits. So as time goes on...
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
As time goes on, you end up in another place, and you might have a group. Like I'm telling you, they started bringing rehabilitation groups in here. And I've been at another group in New Delano in the future, and they gave us pizza. They gave us 7-layer chocolate cake, and we were going crazy. We're like, oh man, this is the best. This is the best. It's the best day of our lives right here. And the main dude, he wouldn't teach us. He was above all of them. He was like their main boss. He went in the room and he started asking, probably 10 of us, 15 of us, when's the last time you ate pizza? And the first guy was 2 years. I got busted 2 years ago. When's the last time you ate pizza? 6 years. And he's like, 6 years? Oh my God, are you kidding me? And this is a normal person on the streets. And he can't believe that. And as he goes around the room, the years, they just keep getting bigger and bigger. 12 years, 13 years. And I'll never forget the look on that man's face, because it made me want to cry. I was genuinely sad looking at his face, because he wanted to cry. He couldn't believe how long another human being went without
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
And yeah, I'll never forget that guy. And that was at a SAT program, and he just couldn't believe it.
All right, I know.
Hello?
We just got the announcement. Call's about to get cut off. If you want to go ahead and give us a call back, and then we'll go ahead and continue with your journey.
Wrap it up.
I'm just,
Okay.
No. We still got we could do one more.
Okay.
We're good for one more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll hang up and call back. Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
All kinds of inmates are pounding in here. I think the Dallas Cowboys are winning or scored or something. Something's going on, man. I could tell.
Let me see.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Just
Oh,
an
it's
update.
7-7.
Just
No, it's
giving
a
you guys an
tie
update.
now. It's a tie now. It's a tie.
Oh my.
Yeah, they were up. But
Okay.
now it's a tie.
I'll call right back. Okay.
All right. So he should be calling us back shortly, and I can't wait till they remove this 15-minute limit. Once they remove this 15-minute limit, man, these stops are gonna be just flowing unstopped, unfiltered. So hopefully it happens sooner than later. And a shout out to everybody that's tuning in: Amy, Marlene, ICEMAN, Biddy K, Gyro Lab. And did I miss anybody? Let me check if I missed anybody. And oh yeah, Manny C. Manny C was the first one that got in here. So we really appreciate you guys tuning in. Earlier on we had Jesse and David jump on for about an hour and some change.
This call is now being recorded.
Es Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
Joe Perez.
un preso recluido de la prisión estatal de Sentinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
El Iceman just he gave us an update. The Niners are 14 and the Rams are 17.
Okay. Okay. They got a game going on over there, guys.
Yeah. And then Dallas is still 7-7.
7-7. Hey James, maybe not right now, but maybe when you have a free time.
Yeah.
You could Google something for the audience, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about these Tehachapi, like I already went there. I'm not going back, but for those of you that are more curious and might not really get a visual, right? There's this gentleman that's been such a huge help. He was the reason why people like me are offered the opportunity to go home through rehabilitation, right? This man's name is Scott Budnick. He was I think he still is, but for sure he was a Hollywood director. He did the Hangover movies, a bunch of comedy movies. He's a big time director, man, and he got involved with this lifestyle of redemption, like I believe in people can change, and he's the reason why a lot of us are here now with this change. Well, when I talk about Tehachapi, he did a documentary. Or it's a short film, or it's something, right? But if you look it up, it is catered to Tehachapi.
You beat me.
And if you look it up, it's See, where else are you gonna get this kind of love, ladies and gentlemen? Like, did you hear this, man? I love this, James. I felt that.
I thought I was on mute. Let me push the mute button over here. I'm over here. I got open mic over here.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, there is a film or a short film or a documentary, and if you Google Scott Budnick and Tehachapi, maybe it's out there. But I know I do believe it won all kinds of awards, and they have footage of Tehachapi. So I don't know what they show. I never seen it, but being the prison it kind of always kept that reputation. And who knows what you could see in that film. Now, that was just to touch up on that topic. Now, Salinas has so much stories over there, but I don't want to tell them because they're not meaningful, you know. They're not they're not nothing like that. But if your fingers are free and you want to Google Salinas Valley State Prison Sea Yard, well, maybe they have stuff to say about that, you know. And now I'll move on to where I transfer out of Salinas in 2006, in the beginning of 2006. They're opening up this prison, and this prison it got the prison by it. So what they do in California is Corcoran's always been there. So what they do is they have this property and it's land, it's prison land, it's government land, and it's flat and nothing's on it. So what the California prison system starts doing is they start making a brother to that prison. For instance, Corcoran got a new Corcoran. And Folsom got a new Folsom. And now Delano is getting a new Delano. So it's their same stretch of land, and you will be like across the street, so to speak. But it's an entirely new prison. So I find myself on the bus going to this prison, and on this bus I have the last. It's funny. I just remember that because they started selling us pants again. I have 3 pairs of pants at this time, and this is when they're going to get took because they're filtering the Levi jean pants out, and they're giving us some ugly material CDC art pants, right? They want us uniform where we can't have pants for whatever reason. They're being mean. And we come to this prison, and this prison we get off, and these cops, just like when we open up Tattoo Shoe, these cops got something to say, you know.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
And they give us this raw dog speech, you know, like how we're not gonna do nothing here. This ain't Corcoran. This ain't this place. This ain't that place. This is New Delano. Like, you know, basically calling us like little bitches or something. But they don't use that word, you know. They're trying to lay the law down. And then we get in there, and the buildings are empty. I go to my first cell. It's when you just lay concrete, it's all chalky. So it's all brand new stuff right here, and you got to clean it, and it takes days to clean it before it turns to like a normal concrete wall. And homies are finding rebar in the cell, so those are weapons off the bat. Those are like, oh my God, I can't believe they just gave this to me. And when you have a new prison, it can open up ugly. And what I mean by that for the viewers is like you can have a lot of riots. You can have a lot of people get stabbed. You can have a lot of people get hurt. Some people can die, right? And the reason is because when the prison is new, nothing is established. So the pull-up bars are right there. The tables are right there. And as the cop, as a correctional officer, you don't tell the inmates like, hey, those are going to be those are going to be the Mexican tables. And hey guys, those are going to be the black tables. No inmate will listen to them. So the inmates dictate who's going to get what. And in California, you know, I don't even know if every homie knows what I'm going to say. But when you are creating a new yard, just the dynamic force that the Bloods and Crips are, as deep as they are, and Southern California Mexicans as deep as they are, they're like neutrals. They're like ties, right? Pretend it's 350 each. That's 700 on the yard. So that only leaves room for 300 other things out there, right? Or say it's 400 each. 400 blacks and 400 Southern California Mexicans. That's how heavy they are on every yard. So when you're establishing a yard with those two individual groups as big as they are, you want them as far away from each other as possible. Again, to prevent conflict, to prevent further violence amongst each other. And so whatever the farthest bars are, those will be the Mexicans' bars, or vice versa. Whatever farthest bars are from each other, those will be the black bars. So in the middle it's always gonna be like the white bars because it just works out like that. Even in the tables. I don't know if you guys heard that, but yeah, something's going on because this was screaming get down and all that, and who knows. But that's how you open up a yard. Now it's always opened up with extreme violence. I never heard of a yard opening up without violence and riots and stuff like that because somebody always wants to be like, those are my bars. No, those are our bars. No, they ain't. Oh well, we're gonna fight over them, right? New Delano didn't open up like that. It opened up at the time, not right now, but at the time, it opened up in the best possible way I could see anything happening. There's 4 yards, A, B, C, and D, and there's always an E yard, and the E yard is always level 1s. So, A, B, C, and D are general population, and A, B, D is general population, and C yard was a S and Y yard before they called it S and Y. It was a PC yard. Now, when these yards open up, they did have riots, but not with inmate and inmate. Like A yard will be like the northern homies will be fighting with the cops, and then B yard it will be like the southern homies fighting with the cops, and then D yard was like the Bloods are fighting with the cops, and it just went on a 2-year fiasco of different individual groups fighting with the cops because riots with the cops because the cops were trying to be so dominant in the beginning, and they had a lot to learn. I don't know where they came from, but they were putting their hands on inmates, and as a unspoken rule in prison, if you're an officer, you don't get too aggressive. You can pat people down. No one's saying that. You do your searches. That's fine, but you can't physically get aggressive, or else what if the inmate attacks, and then all his friends are gonna attack, and then all the other cops are dragged into it. It's just an ugly mess. So that was how New Delano opened up. And in no time, just like any other 180, New Delano had its murders. It had its poor innocent, poor innocent people, because nobody should be killed, right? But it had its handful of murders, and some of them were inmates shot by cops in riots, or inmates shot by cops in stabbings. Like, it's a new facility. So even the cops are not acting like other cops. You know what? This is something that the viewers should know, the listeners should know too. Usually when you're on a 180 yard, when the guys are stabbing somebody, when somebody's being victimized by weapons, they get to puncture that body a ridiculous amount of times, in my opinion. Let's just say 40. Let's keep it like in the middle. So this guy, whoever he is, they get stabbed like 40 times, right? The gunners do not shoot, and again, that's because of the consequences that go with it. Like, if pretend you're a cop and you got the rifle and you shoot a white guy, 2 white guys are stabbing a white guy, and you shoot one of the guys that's stabbing. Well, the retaliation for that is like, that cop shot one of us, we're going to show these cops what's up. So then a cop gets hurt in the future. So that's part of the reason why they don't shoot. Now, the flip side of that coin is that these inmates are dying because of all the puncture wounds, because they're getting inflicted. Because the cops know, if I shoot, then it's not going to come back to me because they'll move me from the yard, but one of my partners are going to suffer the consequence. That's kind of how prison works. And that's a sad thing. That's something that definitely needs to change. And another thing the viewer should know is that when these guys live, say they live, say they don't die that day, right, from that stabbing, the medical unit, they walk over there, and they're telling jokes, and they're laughing, and they're just like nothing just happened, and this dude poor dude on the ground. It's coughing up his lung, and they're just walking. There's no rush to him. There's no running to him. There's no hurry up, let's get the ambulance to him. I would think it's a very ugly sight to see if you're a regular citizen on the streets. To think my tax dollars are going to this. You know, you're going to be mad about your tax dollars regardless, but to see this, I think you will be even more upset and angry with the response that they get. New Delano did give me something good though. They gave me a program that I entered that was a SAP program, substance abuse. Now I went in there just to take advantage because they said if you come here, you will never lose your visits on the lockdown. And I didn't want to lose my visits because I'm getting them all the time now. So I went to that group not because I wanted help, not because I wanted to change, but I just went there for the visits. Now when I get there, this is how far lost I was. I'm in the group and I interview for a job, and this is in prison you don't interview for jobs, so this
Le queda un restante de 60 segundos.
made me feel kind of special just to be there. I interview and I actually get the job, and I'm like one of the younger individuals. I'm older now. I'm probably like 25, 26. But still, the guys the prison system's getting older to me. And older people are.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
And I get a job where I got to start facilitating curriculum to about 200 inmates, and it's about 12 of us that got to do it. 6 in the morning shift and 6 in the afternoon shift. And what that job gave me was it let me let my guard down as far as dealing with other races, right? Tehachapi was very racial. And Salinas, it wasn't like that. You would talk to black guys in Salinas. In Tehachapi, you wouldn't. There was like zero.
All right, so his call was cut off. If he calls back, then we'll go ahead and he could go ahead and finish up, and then I still got a few more minutes before I gotta start getting ready to go to work. And Amy, these messages here that you put in the chat here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and take screenshots of them, and then I'll go ahead and send them out. I'll go ahead and forward those messages over to him, and so you're gonna take a look at these messages. Here we go.
This call is now being recorded.
Global Telling. Usted tiene una llamada prepagada de
Joe Perez.
un preso recluido de la prisión estatal de Centinela, California. Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. Para aceptar esta llamada, diga o oprima ahora el 5. Gracias por utilizar Global Telling.
Hello, Joe.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're still on.
Okay, ready?
We're still on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll continue. I got this app job. And these people, I'm so far gone right here in my rehabilitation. There's zero rehabilitation in me at this time. These normal people from the streets are telling me, hey, you got to tell the inmates this and that and that and this. And I look to these people, and they're regular civilians, and I tell them, hey, guys, I could tell the Mexicans that, but I can't tell the blacks or whites that, And they're like, huh? And I'm like, yeah, that don't. You're gonna have to tell that white guy right there to tell the white guys, and you're gonna have to tell the black guy to tell the black guys. And the white guy and the black guy, we're in the room together. It's 6 of us. And they're like, no, we gave you this job. This is what you're gonna do with it. And I'm like, no, it's not gonna work like that. So then we had to break down, me and these other incarcerated individuals. We have to break down like, hey, man, this is not the real world. Like, in here, no white guy can tell my people what to do. Even if it's homework, like, it's just not going to fly. This is not, we're not having riots because you people want to do this stuff like you want to do it. That's how far lost all of us were, bro. We couldn't even run a classroom without it being segregated. Like we're teaching them, don't do drugs. This is what drugs do. We have to do it in individually. Like I'm Mexican, I could talk to Mexicans, yeah, but I can't do it to blacks. Because what if a black guy says, F you and F your teaching, right? You just can't do it. And so we went through that whole phase, and the staff had to get used to us. And the staff, they wanted us to like tell on each other. They had.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
They had like a piece of paper. This is New Delano. This is in 2006 when it opens up, right? They come up with this stupid little form that fits in your pocket, and they hand them out to everybody, and they're like, yeah, this is how that works. You give them a ticket. They were like tickets. You could say, hey, I see my celly brushing his teeth in the morning, and we're like, no, we're not going for that either, because that's a form of telling, right? What part don't you get? So we have to explain all this, and they're like, well, we're not going to run the program then, because you guys are all acting like failures. So we all don't go for like 3 days. And then they realize, like, this is just a different animal. Because I talked about level 3s being different. I talked about 270s, level 4s being different, level 2s being different. They've run these kind of programs on level 2s, level 1s, level 3s before. This is the first time in history they run this type of program on a 180. So the resistance, they were used to it, because they got the resistance on a level 3 or level 2, where inmates said no. But the problem was, when they were expecting the resistance to be there and then it would just fade away and we would comply, it never did. So they had to realize, like, oh, this is just different up here, And then when we came back, we were like, we told you, like, you could throw this whole program away. We just don't care. We're not going to conform in any way, shape, or form. And so I started working at this job, and I worked at it for at least 38 months, right? I'm in this program for at least 38 months. And right here, I do feel good about myself. I'm like, this is something that's deemed good. And here I am. I've been here for 38 months, and we're running it corrupted because of the way the prison is. But I still felt good about myself, and I felt some kind of success in a different way, because I already felt that success as a criminal, but now it's more like on a humane level, I'm like, hey, I could teach the curriculum, and keep in mind, I couldn't read and write, guys, so when I'm doing this, I do feel probably more proud of myself than all my peers that got the jobs with me, because I know how far I came to even be able to do this stuff, to be in front of a classroom and talk and kind of get the crowd involved and kind of do this and that, it was a good feeling. I had a real good feeling about those days in there. But with all that said, all the stuff we were teaching, I used to teach it. But I used to tell the staff on the sidelines, not in front of the inmates, but when we were alone, I'll be like, you guys see I'm teaching this stuff, but this is crap, man. It's not real world. Life don't work like this. And that was me being in denial, because my life was messed up. I was in prison still, and I don't even see, like, I think this is just like the cards I was dealt. And all of us, I'm looking at all of us like that. Like all these Crips and white boys and Bloods and homies, like that's the cards they were dealt. Like we just, somebody had to live this life, and unfortunately we did, But what they were trying to teach us is every day you could change your life. Every day you wake up, you could change. And we were so naive and so lost and so deep that none of us were believing that. We were just going through the program, and nobody even cared about a certificate back then, because a certificate don't even mean nothing back then. We're never going to get out. None of us are ever going home. So we're just at a content place where we're out the cell and we're in that group, and it was no different than being in a classroom to us. That's the way we viewed it. Now, after the group was over And after I went to the next prison, and when I get older, I would always look back to this group, and I would always think about the stuff that they taught me. Not the stuff I learned at the time they taught me, the stuff I learned 4 years down the line, but the same terminology. I was like, oh, I get it now. This is what they were trying to teach me. Oh, I get that now. I see it now. But I couldn't see it back then. I don't think none of us seen it. The one good thing that that New Delano gave me was this, and it's the first time. It's the very first time, and I'll never forget this. I had a neighbor there, and my neighbor's name, his name was Devious. He was the blood. He was my neighbor for like 3 years, like a very long time over there. And Devious used to get packages, like, you know, inmates get packages here and there, right? So Devious would get a package, and he used to work with me too. He was my coworker. So this is what broke this down. We're working together for like 3 years. We're neighbors for 3 years. He would always get a package, and he would always be like, hey, you want this, fool? Or like, I'll always stop by the door and check up on him. Hey, you good? Before I go in for the shower. He'll always be like, you want this? You want that? And I'll be like, nah. And he'll be like, fool, you don't eat off of blacks. And in prison, Mexicans don't eat off of blacks. And blacks don't eat off of Mexicans. Like, we do not share food. It's like against the rules, right? Yeah, that's the way to put it. It's against the rules. It's just a no-no. So Devious used to always offer me. And after being his neighbor for about 3 years, I remember I was the only one on the tier. And he used to tell me that shit all the time. And he'd tell me with a smile, like I got you, fool. Could you eat this? You're gonna get stabbed up, you know? And I would always never do it, but at this point in time I felt so close to Devious as a human, as a friend. And he had some milk duds, you know, with a little carton where you pull it open like it's milk in there, and there are little chocolate balls coming out. And Devious, I go, you know what, fool? I go, man, just to prove you wrong, yeah, fool, shoot some, you know? And he gave me a look like, huh? Like surprised, and like he didn't know if I was being serious or not. And I'm like, yeah, fool, hurry up before I change my mind. And then he got the tissue paper, the napkin, and he puts them on there, and he puts them under the door, and I get them, and he looking at me. I put one in my mouth, and I'm eating it. And he had the biggest smile ever, man. I will never forget Devious' smile that day. And in the future, we would end up at another prison together. And I felt so bad at the other prison where we're at, because Devious was like my body size. He was like my height, my body size, everything. He's out of San Bernardino, Gilbert Street or Gibson Street, some street, right? And at New Delano, he got into like 4 fights, like not weapon fights, but just fist fights, right? He was always at a gambling table, so he'll you know them, you know, you get in arguments at those tables, right? So he'll always be swinging his little fist. He got in a fight with like a 6'2" big old black dude from Hoover, and he didn't get beat up, bro. He was swinging for his life, like a little chihuahua against a pit bull, you know. And so I feel bad because when we went to the new prison, he got another.
Esta llamada y su número de teléfono será controlada y grabada.
He got in other fights, and Devious had heart, man, and I really was so pissed off that I wasn't black at that time, because I was like, man, I wish I was black, because I'll help Devious out so bad right now. Like, that's how strong the friendship was, you know. We stayed talking. What's happening? What a trip, man. It changes your mind, it changes you in time, and it's because we're all growing as humans. Matter of fact, when I get out, if any viewer ever knows Devious, man, if I ever get out of these prison walls, I'm for sure gonna help him and be his sponsor and his mentor, and tell him we could go home now, you know. Because a lot of people, they're still lost in the sauce, man.
Hey, Joe, just want to give you an update.
Yeah.
And that's big of you. That's big of you right there. You know, offering, to do something like that. You know, when eventually, you end up coming home. you know, because just not anybody's gonna
Yeah.
is gonna do that. You know, and
Yeah.
it touches me that you've made this connection, you know, with these people, even though when you were on like on the main line, or even when you were back in San Bernardino, you know, County. I remember you mentioning
Yeah.
I don't remember the gentleman's name that
Trey.
yeah, Trey.
It was Trey from Cali Park, man. I'll never forget him either, man.
And like how you were gonna look out for him, you know, when eventually you
He
guys would
came
meet up and
upstate.
yeah, but obviously that didn't end up
Yeah.
happening, and he got lost in the system. But you know, it just goes to show, you know, not everybody that you know goes into prison, you know, is on that, you know, racial division, you know, tip, you know. So
Yeah.
I really
And
appreciate.
I wanna say something because I don't want to give the audience like a false pretense or nothing, right? You're not on that racial trip, but at the same time you are because you're siding with so many homies. Like let's just pick a Eastside Longo that there's no secrets. Everybody knows this, right? Eastside Longo and Crips share the hood, and they're notoriously known for killing each other, and that kind of violence on the streets spills into prison, or maybe it's vice versa. I don't even know where it started, but but I could say this: the large majority when it starts, it's not really like a black thing. It's like a blood and crip thing. It's like an enemy thing, and then it kind of grows, right? But but yeah, Devious for sure. That's my boy, man. And man, I got so many, man. J Rock from Forties and Diamond from San Jacinto Hemet area, 1200 block. Like it's a lot of them, bro. I won't even name people, but yeah, you do establish real connections with everybody in here, you know. And we're all on the other side, and we're at each other's throats, and we fight to kill. But at the end of it all, there's real love and strong bonds between all kinds of people out there, you know, in here.
All right, and then we're about to start getting the announcement, and you know, I just want to go ahead and you know thank all of you, you know, for tuning in. Hopefully, we could run one tomorrow. I'll go ahead and double check, you know, what my schedule is looking like tomorrow, and we'll you know definitely you know continue down his journey. And I'm telling you, by the time March comes around, hopefully you know we'll be all caught up, and you could share with everybody where you're at on your journey. So I'm you know definitely
Le
excited.
queda un restante de 60 segundos.
All right, I'll go ahead and hand
Yeah,
off the
yeah,
mic to you.
absolutely. Oh, thank you guys for listening. Cause sometimes I think I have lit sessions. Sometimes I think they're kind of boring. I think this one's kind of in the middle. So I just thank you for being patient and being there and listening. And I can make every session lit, but I just don't want to be going down that road with all the violence things, you know. Thank you once again. I appreciate it.
And once again, you know, I appreciate you know you calling in and you know spending these hours with us and you know sharing your experience. And like I always say here, life's like a candle. Once you blow it, it's lights out.
Lights out. Please, not for the Cowboys, but lights out. Okay, James, you have a good day, bro.
All right, and with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this stream. I really appreciate all you guys tuning in, and you guys go ahead and enjoy your Sunday.